Right, hi. Okay, where was I? Right, well, so those are great things I was going to say, and I've forgotten what they were now. Let's see if I can remember them. Right. Oh yes, I've been fasting today. I thought I'd go for a fast. I'd try another method to sort of help me give up alcohol, and I thought, well, fasting, you know, and it's pretty good. I've done it. You know, I've done a couple of days here and there, you know, and it's like, well, what it is, I did it with bulletproof coffee. I sort of done it with coffee with like butter and coconut sort of oil and stuff in it, and it seemed to go okay. I went 2 days without any food and just had bulletproof coffee a couple of times a day, and you know, I felt good. I felt like I could carry on fasting for a few more days, but just the habit of eating made me want to eat again. So this time, you know, I felt a little bit hungry. I got like hunger pangs in the morning, and you know, about 9 o'clock. Then that went away. I sort of felt okay. Come about like 1 or 2 o'clock, then it was sort of again hunger pangs. You know, a little bit for half an hour or so. So that was like it was no problem. Got over that, and then got to sort of like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I just started thinking of food all the time. You know, and like just couldn't stop thinking about food. And beer and drinks and all kinds of stuff, you know, just like so it got to sort of like 6:30 or so, and what's the time now? Oh god, yeah, it's nearly 10 o'clock. It must have been maybe 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You know, yeah, it was well past 6 o'clock. It was probably 7 or 8 o'clock, and I just thought I just don't know if I can handle going the whole night without any food. It's just like doing my head in. So I just went and bought some like stuff and beer and stuff, you know, and just had a little munch. So, well, the fasting doesn't seem to work, not by itself. So I might have to. I'm just going to have to go for the big guns, I suppose. I mean, there's quite a lot of different strategies I can use still. The reason I'm doing it like this is because it's like I'm building up. Like it's probably best if I've already had a few days with hardly any alcohol. Then it's going to be easier when I do finally find something that's going to, like, you know, sort of like get me completely off, so I don't find any more excuses. Dear. You know, I've still been going over stuff, you know, that's like again, like kind of excuses for why I might be finding reasons to not quit drinking. It's kind of it's so multi-layered. History is one of those things. It's like just history. It's what we're told as history. It doesn't really add up, you know. I went on this one in one of my recent videos about how well, God, dear, it's really boring to talk about it because like different people have done things, like the church has done things, and then later on various governments and the UN or whatever or stuff have done things, and it's just it looks like all these things are different people, you know, but it's really the same thing. Dear. So anyway, yeah, it's like, is it worth going through all the hassle of you know, trying to make sense out of stuff, you know, every little detail, you know, come to the end, you know, the final conclusion. What is the final conspiracy? You know, is it really worth it? You know, or maybe it's just like, it's just one of those things you just, maybe I've done some work. It gets to the point where I start thinking, I can't really get to the end of this. It's like, it's never ending. The more you find out, the more it's like you realize how little you know. I just don't know. It's like the more I unravel of this stuff, the more unraveled stuff there is, you know, and it's like it just becomes like a mess, you know, and you can't make sense out of anything. Dear. Hello, listener, watcher, viewer, wherever. It tells me up here that I've got a viewer. It's got like a little viewer sort of like icon. It's got a 1, so I know I've got a viewer. Well, have a good day anyway. It's funny because I wasn't very confident about this video, but now I'm making it, and I've got my blue blocker glasses on. Everything seems to be going okay. I look orange, and if I look orange, that's great. My flat looks orange. But this is going to be a relatively short video. God, it's getting on, and it's 10 o'clock here. Dear. I'm trying to think what I'm sure I had loads of things to say. I always had loads of things to say. When it comes to making a video, it's like, this is why people edit videos, isn't it? And you have those all choppy bits in videos. So I've been watching films. I'm watching like 80s films. You can't really find all that much on, but you can find a fair bit on YouTube, you know. It's kind of nostalgic, but it actually does have a health benefit, you know. That's one of the reasons I like to keep my videos like a video. Because it's like, you know, I could be here in the 70s. This could be like a 70s or early 80s video. The technology I'm using, you know, so I like to do that. So when I look at myself, you know, because I can see myself now on the screen, and I'm thinking I could still be in my 20s, you know, because my eyesight ain't that very, ain't very good. It's okay, it looks quite high definition, but with these glasses on, and the fact that it's an orange screen, I'm thinking he could be in his late 20s. Yeah, dear. Ah, dear. Oh, I'm just getting bored making this video. Yeah, it was like what am I going to do next? I've still got a few more strategies to try out. I don't really want to talk about them too much. It's like the thing is, I don't suppose it really matters. What else have we got? Oh yeah, well, as I say, it's like as I'm going through these different strategies, I'm sort of like every day or a couple of days, I'm probably going to like not drink alcohol, and that's going to help strengthen my liver. Hopefully, get used to sort of not drinking and stuff. So that should help, and there is a lot of other things. Intermittent fasting, I mean, I was going to think of doing a long-term fast, but I'm not happy about it. Where I've been drinking a lot of alcohol, if you go straight into a long-term fast, you're already depleted of minerals, so your body's going to like be really struggling, So that's probably why I was thinking of food so much. It's like I'm just like, oh, I ain't quite ready. I can do like the whole day of not eating, but when it comes to the whole like days and days, then probably my body ain't quite ready for it yet. So I've done like a 18-hour fast, no food for 18 hours, which is like it's good because it's still going to boost up my production of human growth hormone and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Right, mine wrap up. Good to hear from you. Yeah, it does. Yeah. I've tried it. I haven't been that successful with it, but when I have been successful in actually, like today, I feel quite good. I feel good from it. So it's I know it can be very effective. So that's one of the things. What else? There's loads of herbs. I've got loads of herbs and other supplements and stuff that can help. Which I've talked about these things before. These nootropics and various other substances and stuff. I've been off of gluten for 16 months now. No gluten, no wheat and stuff. I've been off caffeine for about 2 weeks. Apart from last weekend, I think I had a coffee. No, yeah. Apart from that, it's nearly 3 weeks without caffeine, and my heart feels better. I feel sort of more down to earth. Well, my feet more on the ground. My heart feels in a better place. Yeah, probably sleeping a bit better. Yeah, it's like it's good to feel properly hungry, isn't it? Because you get into this like state of eating regularly just because it's a habit. Having 3 meals a day and maybe a few snacks and stuff, and you just do it out. I do it out of habit, and I mean, luckily I smoke, so so I've got other, options, where it comes to eating food, so I can like smoke a cigarette or a spliff or something, and so that sort of like, diverts my attention away. Because I've gone all the whole day fasting, but I have smoked quite a lot, just drinking water and that, and so it got to about 7 or 8 o'clock, and I thought I've had enough. At least it's like intermittent fasting. I'll see how tomorrow goes. Just like I'll have to take it a step at a time. This could go on for years, decades even. I don't know. I just have to see how it goes. It's like I'm trying to. One of the things I've talked about. Yeah, have I got any free will? Do I have free will? It's like I'm trying to find out. What I've decided, I've decided to set myself this goal of stopping drinking alcohol. Like this is quite strong beer, it's stronger than normal beer. It's like, it's not far off as strong as wine. The thing is, right, in Russia, like up until about like 12 sort of so years ago, this was like considered like a soft drink in Russia. Just, children could buy this in the shops, 6 or 7 year olds, they could go buy it in the shops. It would just be like here, people buying Coca-Cola. Yeah, well, all right, Monroe. I'm not going to type answers. I just have to, because I just find it so much hassle typing. I'm not a very good typer, but I'll quickly read your stuff. Yeah, actually, yeah, I've had oatmeal. I've had like a few months ago. I had flapjacks, which over here are called like oat. They're made of oatmeal and sugar and stuff. I thought I might be having gluten, but I've found out that there's no gluten in oats, and so yeah, I'm still gluten free. For 16 months, I've been gluten free. Yeah, I say thank you and stuff to my water, and liquids and stuff and food. Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things, free will. It's like it's something. It's really difficult to get a good, proper grasp on it, isn't it? What is it? How does it work? I find it kind of fascinating. There's so much interesting stuff. If you look at the heart of, I mean, what I found when I was a kid, right? When I was like, just 4 or 5 years old, I was asking questions about, the church and spirituality and stuff. And I was told that, the whole thing about Christianity was that we had free will, and humans had free will, and that's what makes us better than animals and stuff. And but then when you try and find out what it is, it's like you've got the school system seems to be trying to suppress free will, but also teach you the same religion. I mean, we used to have like a school system where when I was a kid that suppressed free will, doesn't want anyone thinking for themselves, you know, just basically keeps you like sort of like being sort of force fed useless information in a regimented sort of prison like kind of way. And at the same time, every day you have to say these prayers like and listen to these sermons from Christianity. And then when you find out about Christianity, it's all about supposedly the fact that we've got free will, you know, and then we've got this school system that's trying to really suppress free will. And it's like, what the fuck, you know? What are they trying to do to us? You know, they're doing everything they can to sort of keep our free will destroyed and eradicated, and at the same time giving us a religion that teaches us that what makes us human is that we've got free will. And it's like, well, where are the fucking humans then? You know, where are they? Am I the only human here? Like, what the fuck? It's just like it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Where are the fucking humans? It's sort of like it's Orwellian. You know, we're already in Orwellian sort of dystopia. You know, this is Orwellian dystopia, but supposedly we're supposed to think of it as paradise. Yeah. I don't know what you said it was called, but these glasses maybe, and my haircut and this minimalist moustache, which could be thought of as a Hitler moustache or a Charlie Chaplin moustache. Well, I just think of it as an Art Nouveau sort of minimalist moustache with the haircut, you know. It's sort of like a bit 30s, you know, minimalist. It's so easy to look after, you know. It just sort of like, you know, I mean, I grew a beard a little while ago for a while, and I never had any tattoos. You know, I see lots of people with tattoos, and I think, no, I'd rather just have like a Hitler moustache. Because I can just shave it off any time, you know. And but I quite like it, you know. It's like what it is, right? I remember seeing Charlie Chaplin films when I was a kid, when I was like really young, you know, when I first got TV. I was probably about 4 or 5, and I used to watch them because they were on TV, you know, quite regularly. You know, Charlie Chaplin in the early 70s, you know, they were playing the reruns of these Charlie Chaplin films, and he always had this moustache like this, and I was wondering, why don't I ever see any people wearing moustaches like that, you know? Because you see people with all different other types of facial hair, but never that one, you know. And obviously later on I found out it was because of Adolf Hitler. But when I was really young, when I was about 4, you know, and I was 4 or 5, I thought, I'm going to have a moustache like that when I'm older. I remember thinking it, you know, I thought, I like that moustache, you know, that kind of moustache. That's what I'm going to have when I'm older, you know. And it's from Charlie Chaplin. So this is really, as far as I'm concerned, it's a Charlie Chaplin moustache. You know, the fact that Hitler kind of ruined it and made it unfashionable. Well, you know, it's like this part of this control system. It's like I just can't bear being controlled. It's part of this, like me being on the autistic spectrum. I just can't bear being controlled, you know. So like So I don't, I have to. If I want to have it, I've got like this inner child part of me that wants to have a Charlie Chaplin moustache. And if other people think of it as a Hitler moustache, then to me that's just their problem. To me, it's like it's a Chaplin moustache, and it's like I just like it because I feel like it suits me, I think Hitler actually quite liked Chaplin, and actually, right about Chaplin, it's quite interesting. My life actually, because my dad, like, he's quite a character. My dad, he was left-handed, right, and he was beaten for being left-handed when he was at school. He had kind of traumatic stress disorder himself. And he travelled to India for months and 6 months and 3 months at a time and stuff in the late 60s or early 70s, and sit there and sat and smoked with sadhus and stuff. Yeah, God, yeah. I've lost my continuity. I've lost my train of thought. Now, I've got problems with my dad. He's like, he had his problems himself. We had problems with our horoscopes. He had Mercury and Jupiter in 7 degrees Virgo. I've got Mercury 7 degrees Pisces in the 12th house. It's just like, he was a nightmare. I've also got like Jupiter. My Jupiter is in like five something degrees Sagittarius. So the thing is, there was a lot of because of that. It was like it was an opposition, a really like direct opposition. My mind and Mercury is in a really bad place, but my Jupiter is in a really good place. Whereas his Jupiter is in a really bad place, and his Mercury is in a really good place. So it was like this sort of like continual weighing of scales, No one could do anything about it. I don't know what that means. I could do something about it, but I choose not to, Yeah, I mean, it's nice that I'll tell you. Maybe what you mean is that, like, yeah, it's interesting that I go to the supermarket, right? I buy my shopping, and people sort of have to be nice to me and say, and have a nice day and stuff, and it's like, do they think that I think all the Jews should be gassed? Because I don't. I'm horrified by the idea of that. I would hate. Oh, I wouldn't gas Jews, not because they're Jews. That's ridiculous. Anyone who thinks that must be, is a psychopath. No, I just think they should be drowned instead. I'm just kidding. I just had to say that I'm just kidding because otherwise people might not realise I'm just kidding. No, about Jews, it's like you can't persecute Jews just because for being Jews. That's ridiculous. It's like it's kind of it's akin to racism, isn't it? People can't help being born Jews. Do we have more stuff here? A woman posing as a man. I don't think so. It could have been, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know anything really. It's just like I feel like I'm a muppet. I'm probably some sort of puppet. You know, the fact that I've basically got no free will. It's like, well, is there some sort of strings like manipulating me? I don't know. I haven't seen Dad in 25 years. Saturn in Leo. Saturn in Leo. Oh, my brother's got Saturn in Leo. A younger brother. But right at the beginning, I've got this 4 points of a 5-point star in my chart. Saturn 17.5 Taurus, the Moon 18.5 Taurus. Then Mercury 7 degrees 4 minutes Pisces, Mars 23:43 I think minutes Sagittarius, and Uranus 12 degrees 51 minutes Libra. And so you look at that's 4 points of a 5-point star to very close to and the missing degree is 1 degree, or between 0 and 1 degrees Leo. And 3 out of the 5 people in my family, my immediate family, and I'm one of them. So 3 of the no, hang on, no, not including me. So that would be 6. But the other 5 people in my family, in my immediate family, my mum and dad and my siblings, 3 of them have got planets between 0 degrees 20 minutes Leo and 0 degrees 40 minutes Leo, which is the point of the sort of missing 5-pointed star, basically to within 1 degrees. Okay. So anyway, that's like it's one of these things that I found out when I started getting into astrology, probably probably about 30 years ago, just over 30 years ago. And in my mid to late teens, started doing people's horoscopes and that, and I found out all this stuff. And I don't get on with, I kind of get on with my family, but it's like, to me, they're two-faced, I don't really get on with them. I don't see very much of them at all. And they're just like most people, most people kind of are like well, the sort of things I talk about, I can't relate to most people. The other thing is, it's like I'm still going through this thing as a progress. It's like, how do I deal with all this stuff? You know, it's like I'm still trying to understand what I'm supposed to do in this world. How am I supposed to act? You know, how do I become successful? How do I sort of make real progress in this life? Because it's like I feel like in some ways I'm coming up against this brick wall. You know, there's no reason to carry on living. You know, there's no reason to have children. Why would I want to bring children into a world of like slavery and stuff, and everything's fake? You know, what's the point? You know, so what would I carry on for? You know, and so I'm sort of like realizing that just making my body healthier, you know, getting as healthy as I can, so that I can think more clearly, getting my brain working better, then I'll be better able to ask the better questions. Because at the moment, I don't even feel like I know how to ask the proper questions. You know, I know that I don't know anything. I know I'm in ignorance. That's about it. Apart from that, you know, I think I probably would be better off without drinking alcohol. And I'd like to try that. You know, it's like I'm looking at these different options of how I can start finding ways to stop drinking and getting more healthier, so that I can think more clearly. You know, so I can have more energy, so I can get more stuff done. You know, it's pretty straightforward, really. You know. It's really simple, you know. Oh dear. Yeah, so you know, it's pretty straightforward. Or am I dragging on a bit? How long have I gone on for now? I expect it's ages. Oh, look, 37 minutes. I better put it to an end then. Yeah, because otherwise no one will be able to watch these. They'll be like history. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter, does it, if I carry on talking? Because it's like history. Nobody ever reads history, you know. Have we got any more stuff down here? Yeah, I mean, yeah, thanks, Mindray Park. It's good to see you. Well, you know, hear from you. Whatever. The written word to me is like a sort of a weird thing. I don't know how to sometimes, I don't know how to think of it. But yeah, you've got to pursue things you desire. That's all there is. Yep, I sort of understand that. Yep. It's like a flame in it that's sort of like gives you that warmth and that heat that you need to sort of keep going, you know. Desire, yeah. Well, you know, it's like maybe my desire, that flame is like sometimes for me is like flickering out. You know, it's like, what am I? I feel like it's flickering out, like in like a little bit of like an old fire, an old hearth that nobody's attended for a while. You know, and it's like it's all starting to die out. There's only a few flickering flames. Probably still some warmth there, but you know, there's only a few flickering flames, and it's like, you know, I need to add more fuel. That's what it is. You know, what is it where are my desires? What are they? Because I've been trying to analyze them and look at them and stuff, and it's like, you know, I can sort of think of having children, you know, and at least maybe one or two children, and with a younger woman, you know, and there could be some virtue in that. But there's so many people on the planet, it just seems a bit kind of presumptuous, to be having children when there's so many people already on the planet. And I haven't really got anything, I haven't got any special skills that I can pass on or to make a living with. I'm on benefits, so it just doesn't seem right for me to have children. It just seems like, I'll just be, I'm already relying on other people paying their taxes and stuff. Although, don't get me started talking about the banks and the way they fucking are ripping everyone off, because yeah. Anyway, so I'm on benefits because, if you read Maynard Keynes, find out about Maynard Keynes and the way that our systems work, so that there's always going to be millions of unemployed people, because of how the way it's all structured for efficiency. There's so many people, and there's not enough jobs. It's basically how it is. And there's not enough money to go around to pay for everyone to have good jobs. So you need unemployed people on benefits. So it's just like, what are we supposed to do? Make YouTube videos? I don't see what else you're supposed to do, We've got it here. Oh, hello, Shiny Beast. I've heard about Ibogaine, yeah. It's just getting these things. I've had a bit of trouble getting stuff like. I did manage to get modafinil, but it's like I've got it twice in about 3 years, and it kind of it's pretty good. But I'm very, very careful. I got 10 tablets about 2 or 3 years ago, and I used them over about a year and a half, just having a little bit here and there, maybe a quarter of a tablet. And I know it's not like ibogaine is like natural, like a plant substance, isn't it? Yeah. But it's just getting it. Maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe I can get it. Yeah, here, I don't know. One of the things I found out recently is going to watch the sunrise, getting outside in the sunrise and going out in the daytime, and watching the sunset as well, going outside to watch the sunset. Even if there's clouds, doesn't matter, just go out there at the same time that the sun's setting, and it can help balance your sleep pattern, your whatever they're called, circadian rhythms. Is that the right expression? Something like that. Circadian rhythms. It just balances them. So yeah, I've been doing that, and I just found that I've been sleeping better. I'm not necessarily when I'm all at night and in the day, but just better. I've just been getting better sleep, so I have found it's quite useful. I actually think that it's quite likely that the way we've developed and bred and stuff over thousands of years, there are some people like myself, maybe, or probably, who's I'm just bred to be awake at night. You know, I just found that I'm mostly much more awake and aware and energetic in the nighttime. And I did watch a Dave Asprey video about this, and he was using somebody else's ideas about these three different animals. One was a dolphin, and there was a couple of other ones. I forgot what they are now. Yeah, with these different sleep patterns, and some people are just designed to be up, you know, in the nighttime. And I've always been thinking, well, for years, for decades, I've been thinking, I'm probably designed to be like a night watcher, you know, sort of somebody who sort of like normally keeps guard and watches, you know, protects things at night. You know, I've got very good hearing. I've got very good smelling. I found out from various like things I've heard. I'm pretty sure I've got like Neanderthal genes. You know, having a big nose, very strong, a good sense of smell, very good hearing. My second toe is longer than my first toe, very slightly. You know, these are signs of having the Neanderthal genes, I think. And yeah, so yeah, I know you love making art, Mondro Park. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the thing is, right, our whole language, I think, is fucked up. When you say shaman, it just like it's like I've had a problem with this for years. You know, I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying that the word shaman, I'm just realizing it's like it means so many different things to different people. I've had experiences. Hi, John. I've had different experiences with you know, people like using the word shaman in all different ways and understanding it in different ways. And it's just like it's a fucking headache. You know, our language is so messed up. It's like it's a hobbled horse. I was saying it in a recent video. It's a hobbled horse. Our language. It's not useful for proper communication. It's really it's like we can only walk if you want when you want to run you can't you're stuck walking. So like this, I want to get to somewhere quickly and I can't. I have to go there really slowly. Nobody's got the attention span to listen to me waffle on for ages and ages and ages, you know, because I'm hobbled by the fact that I'm speaking in this language. There are other languages. But not many. I can think of one, and I can't even find it. I've been looking for it on the internet. I come across it a while ago. It's from somewhere like Chile, you know, or somewhere in South America, you know, Bolivia or Chile or somewhere like that. They got this mountain somewhere, and there's these people. They speak this really cool language, and you know, it's like the computer people have gotten a hold of this language and said it's like a perfect computer language, and they may have already adopted it. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I haven't heard anything much about it lately. You know, I don't seem to. But then again, you know, what have they been? They've been messing around with Google Plus and YouTube for years now. I heard recently that they're closing Google Plus down. in a way, I was quite glad, but then I'm just thinking, well, have they just got enough information now, or, you know, why are they closing it down? Oh, Kojak. Oh my, John. That's great. You know, Kojak was great, wasn't he? You know, I remember that. Yeah, well, it just seems great. You know, it was crap. You know, probably crap actually. But it's nice to think about it. You know, watching it, it's like it takes you back. It makes you feel younger. Yeah, it's worth watching these old things. I watch them all the time. I'm going to look at Kojak actually. It's good. I'm glad you reminded me. I don't know what that Quechua shiny beast means. Quechua. No. You know, I'm from southern England. My accent and my vocabulary, I've realized that the English language is very malleable, and it's like nebulous. You know, people don't necessarily, we all think we speak English, but it doesn't mean you can understand someone. Even where I live, I don't most of the people I come across, I don't understand what they're talking about. You know, they're talking like a foreign language to me. Most people. I'm trying to be as clear as I can here, but it's like, I mean, I don't know if people are understanding what I'm saying. They probably are not. One of the things I like about making videos is that I can go back and watch them. You know, if I've been a bit drunk, like I was on at least one or two of my recent videos, probably a bit too drunk, you know. But it's just, you might as well see it because it's reality, it's the truth, you know. That's another reason I like doing the live videos, is because it's you know, it's the truth, and you're just seeing what is right now. Yeah, there is loads of stuff right going on the internet, and you know, in the world. You haven't got time to catch up with it. You haven't got time to catch up with it. How can you catch up with it all? I mean, it's just happening, you know, moment by moment. Tons and tons of stuff, loads of it, millions of stuff. You know, just huge amounts of stuff is happening all the time. How do you keep up with it? You can't. So you've got to keep like scanning for stuff. You know. I mean, it's like there's stuff happening all the time that is like well, I'm tempted to say beyond our comprehension, but just like new and novel and potentially valuable and seemingly beneficial to start with, you know. You know, I've been grabbing at a lot of this stuff and ordering stuff and trying new stuff out. And you know, from time to time, I make obvious mistakes, and the thing is, right, I'm learning about stuff all the time. I'm trying out all different stuff, and I'm trying to sort of keep it like relatively slow. Like, so for example, the modafinil. Um, the normal prescription dose for modafinil is like 2 tablets per day. Now I take so it's 5 tablets would last somebody 5 days. Now those 10 tablets, oh so 10 tablets would last somebody 5 days. Yeah, so those 10 tablets lasted me a year and a half, and so I'm really careful about how much I use stuff. I'm experimenting with a lot of things, but I'm trying out different combinations of things and how they work together, and how and doing all and carry on doing research and stuff. So not that I'm not necessarily finding out all that much, but it. It's a work in progress. It's like there's so much to find out. It's like there's nothing I can't help but just keep trying to like experiment with all this stuff and trying it out, because there's just so much interesting stuff out there. Yeah, so um, yeah. Yeah, I tried Phenibut, High Shiny Beast. Yeah, I tried Phenibut. Man, it's sort of like I don't know what it was. It didn't seem like quite a good enough substitute for alcohol. I know that it's supposed to be a good substitute for alcohol, but I don't know what it is. I just couldn't really get on with it. I bought a great big tub of it, and 100-gram tub or something, and ended up throwing most of it away. Kratom, I would like to try that. How did you get on with that? Um, yeah, I got some Soniferam uh, recent a few months ago, and I only tried it a couple of times, but it seems okay. Yeah, I might try it with modafinil. Actually, I think it might go well with modafinil, like half a tab or something of modafinil and a scoop of Sanafaram. I got a quite good deal from Australia with Sanafaram. It's like makes you feel like an athlete. Phenylparastam. Uh-huh. Kratom's like an opiate. Yeah, I'd like to try it. So Shiny Beast, have you tried fly garlic mushroom, the Amanita muscaria? Yeah, I tried Noopept. I got quite a good, interesting thing off Noopept. It's like I don't know. It's sort of difficult to sort of gauge these things. Anoxiracetam, yeah, that was quite interesting. I haven't tried phenylpiracetam. Yeah, I mean psilocybin mushrooms. I think they're cool. Yeah, I had a pretty heavy experience. I first tried them when I was about 7 years old. you know, we was in a little holiday sort of thing in Wales, staying with some of my dad's friends, the hippie friends, and living on a farm. And I probably had about 15 or 10 or 15 maybe, and I sort of ended up in this bush, and I was just like all the little leaves in the bush seemed like individual personalities, like individual little sort of souls or personalities, and people come and try to talk to me, but I sat in this little bush for like an hour or a couple of hours, just to sit there, quite content, just talking to these little beings, these little leaves and stuff, and being in higher states of consciousness. And the next time I did it, when we was at school still, and a couple of mates from school, we all went out to this place and ate loads of magic mushrooms. Probably about 30, I thought, about 14 years old probably. And my dad said to me, don't eat more than 25. 25 is the most you should eat. So we ate like I ate like well over 100, I think. And they had this like, because my dad, well, my family and me and my dad, whatever, we'd grown like loads of weed, and so I took a spliff of weed with us, and I was the only person who had weed, and I had two friends with me, and we was all eating these magic mushrooms for about an hour or two until we started tripping. And then I pulled out this joint that I'd made and started smoking it. Oh, it's so great. I was already starting to trip, but it was the first kind of, since I was 7 years old. I mean, that was a long time ago. I was now like 14 years old, so it's like 7 years later. I didn't really remember it that well, and so then I started smoking this spliff, and things just started changing. Like all these lights started going, like the world started, the lights started switching on in the world, and my two friends were trying to hassle me to see if they wanted some of this spliff, but it seemed so good, I just wanted to keep smoking it. I just felt really greedy and selfish, It's funny. So they kept hassling me, and eventually I let them smoke the last little bit of it. They had a few puffs each. I smoked most of it, but it was my split. Anyway, everything seemed really great then. The thing is, like, then a few, like 5 or 10 minutes later, a couple of guys in a car stopped outside the gate of this field that we was in, and they got out and they started talking to us, and I immediately got really, really paranoid. I thought they were the police or something, or the FBI or CIA or the MI5 or whatever. I don't know. I just started thinking like really paranoid thoughts, like you do. It's normal on cannabis, you know, when people start, you know, it's illegal, you know, you don't want to be busted. You know, really bad things could happen. You know, you could be like locked away in prison for years and years and never see the light of day again. You know, and all kinds of terrible things could happen. You could be like raped by people and stuff. You know, it's like fucking hell. You know. So it's not like a little thing. It's like, you know, these paranoia things, they sort of grab a hold of you. And it's like, you know, and it's like they start wringing you out, you know, and turn you into some sort of gibbering jelly sort of thing. Anyway, so anyway, what happened? These two guys turned up. They asked us, have you found any mushrooms? And one of us said, yeah, we found, you know, a few. And it's like, they looked at us and one of them said, yeah, look, they're really out of it. Look at them. Like, it's like, and I was probably really out of it. I had like well over 100 mushrooms. Totally, I was totally out of my head. And then we had to walk up this hill, right? We left. You know, I just got totally fucking freaked out. I thought they were the police. I know they weren't the police. They just got in the field and started picking mushrooms like we were, you know. And but it was too late then. My paranoia had already started spiraling out of control. And I just had to leave, you know. So like we got out and climbed over the fence of this field, got back onto the road and started walking up the hill back to the main road so we could walk back home. And just walking up the hill, I had so many mushrooms walking up the hill. It was only like about, you know, 200-300 meters up the hill. It wasn't very far at all, you know. I've been there since and seen the hill because, you know, the whole experience at the time was so unbelievable that I had to go back and check it a few times to make sure that, you know, I wasn't just trying to get a good grasp of what was really happening rather than what I thought was happening. But walking up the hill, it seemed like it was, you know, because I was really tripping then, right? The mushrooms were coming on. I'd eaten over 100 mushrooms. I mean, I imagine it was over 100. It could have only been 60 or 70, but it was a lot. You know, it was like well over the amount that you need to have a proper trip. You know. I bet I've drinking my beer, haven't I? Oh no, there's a little bit there. Yeah. Yeah, so walking up the hill, it seemed like it was going on forever. It just felt like it was never going to end. Walking up this hill, and it wasn't even a long hill. It was you know, it was quite steep, but it was 200 yards, 230, 250 yards, something like that. Not very long, but just quite steep. But it seemed to go on forever and ever and ever. You know, just like when you're tripping, these things do. And then we got up the hill, got onto the main road, walked on again. It still just seemed like forever and ever. It's like when you're tripping like that, it's like it's never going to end. Anyway, eventually we got to this cafe, I think, and had a cup of tea. And I finished the tea and then went and left. And as I was leaving, I just got I felt really tired. Maybe got a blood sugar thing from the sugar from the tea. And I felt I had to go and lie down. And I went and lied down under this bush. It was just next to someone's house, you know, someone's garden. They got a few little bits of shrubbery in their garden, in the front of their garden. And I just went and laid down, you know. And then it must have only been a few seconds later, I looked up and then these old people looking at me, like walking past and pointing at me. and my friends were just standing there laughing, pointing at me, laughing. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. It's funny. It's like, because, you know, I get these flashbacks from that as well. That I'm going to die, you know. But of course, everyone's going to die, you know. So it's just like, it's not really a big thing. It's just like, because we're all going to die, aren't we, eventually? It's just getting used to it, you know, coming to terms with it. And what else is there to do in this life? You know, you might as well just come to terms with the fact that you're going to die, right? Otherwise, what else are you going to do? I mean, you want to be flash, you want to make a big impression. Create a bit of history. Okay, then, whatever. You know, if you come to terms with the fact you're going to die, it's not just coming to terms with the fact that you're going to die, but also that everyone else is going to die. Coming to terms with your reality as a whole, you know, so that the people around you, you know, all understand that. We all understand it, you know, and we get to come to terms with it. You know, isn't that paradise? Isn't that a paradise that we can actually grasp a hold of? Okay, and thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to finish this right on 1 minute 11, because it's just coming up to 1 minute 11 now. And by the time I've said goodbye and thanks for watching, it'll be 1 minute 11, or even 1 minute 11 and 1 minute 11. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, yeah, I got it. 1 minute 11. No, is it stopped? Are you sure you want to end the stream? Yes, end. Why won't it end? End stream. It's got, oh, okay. It's not letting me end. Why won't it let me end? Oh, excuse me. Did I even mention I was just going to go and have a wee? You know, magic mushrooms, microdosing with magic mushrooms, I think is quite cool. You know, psilocybin mushrooms. I also like fly Garrick mushrooms. You know, they're basically any mushroom that they make illegal has got to be a good mushroom, hasn't it? You know. I mean, any natural substance that they make illegal has got to be a good fucking thing, right? It just stands to reason, doesn't it? It's just like, you know, it's the sort of like this sort of the work equivalent of reverse psychology. You know, if they're making something illegal and it's natural, well, it's got to be a good thing, right? Obviously, you've got to try it. You know, you'd be mad not to. I mean, that's how I see it, anyway. You know. Also, I tried stopping this video and it just won't let me stop it. So I have to carry on. I'll have to find some other way of stopping it. I'll probably just like, switch my computer off at the hard drive or something, or the mains or whatever. Just switch it off when I get fed up with you lot, or myself talking loads of nonsense. I'm sure I had loads of other stuff to say. You know, I've always got loads of stuff to say. It's just like I get fed up with my own voice, the sound of my own voice going on and on. You wouldn't think so, me making all these videos. You'd think I'd love the sound of my own voice. But I actually eventually do get fed up with it after a long time. I mean, that's one of the reasons I make these videos. I mean, it'd be nice to sort of like have other people come on here and like get me really annoyed so that I can tell them that I don't want to see them anymore and tell them to go away and never come back. Yeah. Because that's probably what'll happen, you know. That's another thing, right, about doing the work. That's one of the reasons I didn't come back, right, and make loads of videos straight away. I mean, I probably could have, if I really put my mind to it, I could have done that, you know. What it was, I realised is I'm not a very nice person. I'm not the. It's like I was one of those people, right? One of those 80% of people that thinks they're one of the 20% of the most nicest, genuine, decent, honest, good-natured, healthy, generous, all-round good people. You know, salt of the earth. You know, 80% of people think they're in the top 20%. That's one of they've done research to find out this. You know, most people, 80% of people think that they're in the top 20% of good people. And I think I was one of them. And now I've realised that I'm probably not in one of them. I expect the people that don't realise they're not in one of them, maybe they are. I don't know. You know, it's like it's just one of these things. It's like you realise you don't know anything. I don't know anything. You know, it's like just having an IQ of 139 doesn't make you know everything. You know, I might be technically more intellectually aware and stuff and better functioning than the vast majority of people, but it doesn't mean I know anything. It doesn't mean I understand anything really. I don't know anything. if it comes to trying to say what do I know, is there anything I know for sure? It's like, well, I could say, well, the sun's going to come up at 5 minutes past 7 tomorrow, you know. And it probably, I mean, I don't know if it is. I mean, that might be the time. I don't know. But I mean, just supposing that's the estimated normal time of the sun rising tomorrow morning here or wherever it is, you know, it most likely is going to come up. But I don't know that for sure. And that's a really bad example. A better example would be, do I know if I'm a good person or not? Because I don't. You know, I don't know if I'm a good person or not. You know, it's like I have no idea. I don't even know how. I don't know how to gauge what is good. How do you find a good person? I don't know how to do it. You know, it's like if just what about murder, for example? If I think I've thought at times, you know, if I'd murdered somebody that was like, just for example, right, Stalin. You know, Stalin was apparently, seemingly responsible for the deaths of 20 odd million or more people in Russia from in a very relatively short period of time, 10 or 20 years or something, and or maybe less. I'm not sure the exact history. It's just one of those things that's come up loads of times, and it's like, I mean, history, it just disintegrates. You know, how can you keep up with it? I mean, there's so much stuff going on. You can't know all the stuff. You can just pick and choose little bits and stuff. Oh, fucking hell. It's so fucking bizarre. When you've got this many people, this much stuff going on in the world, how can you ever write it? I mean, you can't even find the whole, all the history of one day. A single person could never in their whole lifetime find out all the history available that's happened in just one day on the whole planet and on this planet. Yeah, there's like billions of people, you know, there's not the time in a single lifetime to find out about all those people, you know. So who does all the editing, you know? And you multiply that by sort of like hundreds of thousands of years of human history. You know, how do you fucking pick and choose? What do you fucking get out of it all? You know, it becomes meaningless. What does it mean? There's so much to choose from. It's ridiculous. You know, who's doing all the editing, and how do they do the editing? What are they leaving out? What are they putting in? You know, it becomes like an opportunity for propaganda and mind control, and it's too easy. It's too fucking never going to not happen. Once you've got the written word, people are going to do that. They're going to sort of like grab a hold of this opportunity to control and manipulate everyone through giving them the version of history that they want them to have. And it's like they're trying to create, it's like programming, literally programming people like they're programming robots. That's what they're doing with our school system. So these robots will be like their slaves. But we're actually human beings, and we're made in the image and likeness of God. Right? What does that mean? You know, I think what it means is that we need to start communicating with each other face to face, soul to soul. Okay? Eye to eye. That's what it means. Going backwards to what we what we originally were and are supposed to be. We're already made in the image and likeness of God. You know, it's like I did this future life progression. Oh, it was quite a while ago now, probably like 10 and 15 years ago. And in the future, there seem to be less people, more trees and forests and stuff, and communities where people could commune with like their higher selves, all combining together. Like for example, there seemed to be in my vision there was like about 70 people, and they all came together, and they were created in a sense like God. Now, people would probably think of that as like blasphemous and that, but if you think of it as like we're all like made in the likeness and image of God, when you put 70 souls all together and like they project outwards together, then you get something which is even more in the image and likeness of God. So a better likeness of God, you know, a more complete likeness. So it was like a sort of shared communion, you know, and there was also these like biodomes, these big like sort of glass or plastic domes, you know, a couple of 100 feet across, like big domes, like in like different segments, growing like more tropical food in colder climates. So there was people had a wide variety of different herbs and food and vegetables and stuff. And this was projected about what I understand to be about 200 years in the future from now, something like that. Which to me makes sense. There's a lot of carbon dioxide in the air. We're living in an unsustainable world. You know, I think a lot of people really have to get to, in the next 50 or 100 years, people are going to have to get to this, come to the understanding that we're going to have to die off. The human race is going to have to be culled back, die off. People are going to have to stop having children so much and die off. And the most successful, best, you know, people are going to have the children. They're going to be the ones that are going to carry on breeding. The most healthy, the most nicer, the most intelligent, you know, the best sort of humans should be the ones to carry on having children. Just one or two, and you know, keep the race going, but on a much smaller level, to sort of like keep things going and try and create a smaller race, but one that's got a much better standard of living and is more in tune with nature. you know, and you know, we've got time still. What we should, what I feel we've got to do with our time is start thinking about how we're going to build our future for our children and our you know, descendants. You know, what sort of future we're going to build for them, because I want it to be somewhere sustainable. I mean, it's so obvious really to me. Somewhere sustainable, nice to live in. I mean, I really don't like the idea. I feel really terrible about the idea of leaving a planet where it's like just being steadily more and more poisoned, and until we eventually kill all the life on the planet, which is what seems like that's the direction we seem to be going in. You know, and I just don't feel comfortable with that at all. You know, I want to make a world where it's sustainable. You know, we're making soil that's really good and healthy, and that's like, because it's really obvious how to do that, and people have done it in the past. There's evidence of that in the Amazon rainforest. You know, there's loads of black soil deposits there. So humans can easily make black soil so that it's really fertile, you know. And why wouldn't we do this? Because it's like you make all this really fertile soil, and it's more than self-sustaining. It becomes really fertile. You can grow loads of food there, and it's all about a lifestyle where all your sort of like the stuff that you don't eat that is like not wanted, it goes back into the soil, and you know, you're going to like use as little wood to burn as possible. So you want like clothing to stay warm. That's probably why we've developed clothing. One of the reasons, you know, to stay warm without having to burn loads of wood, so you can sustain a nice forest and areas of gardens and stuff in between the forests and trees, and keep animals and grow loads of vegetables and stuff, and stay warm because you've got nice warm clothing, so you don't have to burn loads of fires, just small fires to burn, like cook fish or a bit of meat maybe when you're eating meat or fish, and you know, and soups and stuff. And all the charcoal that's left over goes back into the soil and helps store keep the minerals in the soil, and make the soil go dark and black, and you end up with this black soil. And really, we need sort of this. I mean, it's never going to happen probably, but if it was up to me, I would have people that they should make areas for people to live in, these like without the written word, and like in like villages of maybe no more than about two or 3,000 people, you know. Yeah, you could have a bit more, I suppose, but ideally less than that, you know, like say a few hundred, 400, 500, 600 people, 800, 1,000, you know, something like that, you know, and just live in a nice area where they build up the minerals in the soil. So it would be quite an area, you know. There's not enough room on the planet to keep everyone. On the populations that we've got now, you need to cut it back, you know, so that we, you know, to sort of more like 500 million or something, which is more realistic than what we've got now, so that people could have a much more better lifestyle, you know, and more freedoms, the way we live it now, to me, it's a horror. It's like a horror movie. I'm like stuck in a horror movie. So there's no point having loads and loads of people if they all have to live like slaves and just like cattle. What's the point? I mean, I don't really think I can. Can I carry on? Can I make money making videos like this? Can I just carry on like this, just talking about all this stuff? Because people, and as far as I'm concerned, nobody's really interested. They don't want to hear the truth. The truth doesn't sell. It doesn't sell. So it's like, what am I going to have to do if I want to make a living? I can't do it from making videos unless I start just like making circus type videos. What's going on here then? Guys, what you going too quickly? I can't keep up with you lot. Oh, what's going on here? It's like it's going all over the place. It's like I don't know these people. I mean, the problem with the written word, it's like I don't hear the intonations when people say these things. Like for example, Shiny Beast said, "Nature only rewards dominance and will to power." I mean, is that from Nietzsche? I don't know, but it's like I don't know. I don't hear the intonations. What about the body language, the pheromones? It's like it's too black and white. It's like a headline. When I'm reading this stuff, it's like a headline, and it's not the same as if someone said it in the flesh. And it's not the same. And also, if someone said it in the flesh, and I've known that person for my whole life, so I know what sort of person they are, and then they say it in the flesh, so I know exactly what they mean. Whereas somebody else could say it in the flesh, and I don't know that person, and I don't really know what it means. But then when you compare that to something that I don't know in the flesh, and it's just some written words on sort of on this top chat thing, it's just headlines. I can't make any sense out of it. There's no pheromones. There's no body language. There's no facial expressions. It's like, I just don't know. I don't know with all this stuff with the written word. And all this technology, I know it seems so efficient and like clever and wonderful and like miraculous, and it can do loads of stuff and all in one go, and it seems to be really amazing stuff. And the alternative, going back to the simple like talking face to face with people, seems like a step back into the dark ages, and that probably to most people. I've looked at it very thoroughly, and I'm not convinced. I'm not telling you that I'm definitely convinced that you should definitely get rid of the written word, but I'm not convinced either way. It's not clear cut to me at all. What is, if the written word is a good thing or not. I'm not anywhere near convinced. I've got a lot of evidence to suggest that it's a really bad thing. There's also loads of evidence that suggests that the written word is a good thing. And so to me, the jury's out. And I think that's something that's really important to sort of understand and get people to get their head around. That when it comes to the written word, the jury's out. You know, there's no obvious argument that definitely, you know, makes clear that the written word is a really good idea and a really great thing. There's nothing that guarantees that in any way. And there is a lot of arguments that go completely against it being a good thing. You know, now, I'm adamant about it. You know, it'd be nice if I had a really solid watertight argument that I could say, yes, the written word is a really, really evil thing because of this. And this, you cannot deny it no matter what. Because it's not, it doesn't seem to be a watertight argument. Whatever I can come up with doesn't seem watertight. But I'm still convinced because I've got so many semi-watertight arguments that will just do for me. And I'm going to stop here because I've gone on for ages, and I was going to make less videos. I'm thinking of not making videos for maybe only like one a week or one every or two a week maybe. So anyway, I'm going to stop here because this was only going to be a 7-minute video and it's already 1 minute 38. I don't know how you've managed to keep me like waffling on like this. And I can't read all of them because I'll just be stuck here forever. You know, I've been fasting all day. I want to go and eat some sort of carbs and stuff. Help me to sleep. So anyway, thanks for watching, and dear. I don't even know if I hardly got anywhere near the sort of things I wanted to say today as well either. It's just typical. I'm going to be here for years. That's another thing about the work. Yeah, it's like saying all this stuff. Like, dude, the reason I want to get healthy is because the work's going to take probably a lot longer than I thought it was. It's going to take like maybe 30 or 40 years. That seems like a really long time, doesn't it? So, of course, in order to live, you know, to do the work, you have to live for another 30 or 40 years. And so that means you've got to stay healthy. So you've got to eat properly and do proper exercise and do fasting maybe. I definitely feel better from fasting today. You know, so so there's there's loads of stuff, and it's like the amount of videos you're gonna have to watch from my videos is going to be huge. How are you going to have the time? You need to sort of like I don't know. I don't see how everybody can have the time to watch all my videos. I just feel sorry for you all that you're not. Most of you are going to miss them, and only a few of the lucky ones are going to be able to watch them. You know, such a shame for you sort of people that won't be able to watch. I don't know what to say. So I'm just going to stop it here then. Thanks for watching again, and see you next time, probably tomorrow. No!